You're listening to Polymatic.media, episode 38 for May 6th, 2018. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Hey, John, how's it going?
Okay again.
Okay again.
Yeah.
Are you human? Did they put bionic parts in there to make you stronger, faster?
No, Alan, that is not what happened. I cannot, I don't know. I am kind of stuck in the loop here. Anyway,
That was a bad robot impression.
Yeah, I got stabbed by the doctors. Because last Saturday, we were supposed to record, but John was having lots of pain. So I spent from like 2 a.m. until 9 or 8:30 or something in pain before I called the doctor. And then the doctor said, "You're an idiot, and please get to the hospital as soon as possible." So, yeah.
Well, I mentioned that not May. I mentioned just a moment ago off mic that April was hell. And so that was the end of April. And it was like, well, we haven't done anything to John yet. Let's get him.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so that was an interesting experience. There's lots of things I learned about myself and about the world and how things work.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And how your gallbladder did work.
What?
Past tense.
They took it out. It's like, nope,
Yeah.
bye-bye.
Yeah.
It made stones and then was upset that we didn't want them.
And they weren't pearls and they weren't diamonds. So
you can't polish those apart, apparently. Okay.
And so, you can't sell them for a lot of money.
Yeah. So I did. I had to recover from that. That was so I got surgery on Saturday evening, and then on Sunday I was removed from the hospital. Yeah. So it was a short hospital visit. It was like a night, but I think I went through it pretty well. And then on Monday I was working again. So.
Yeah, I will say for people who are losing weight, changing their diet, especially if you're crashing rapidly, and that's not your case, or even just changing the nature of your body format. Right, your body format is larger, and you're trying to be healthy, and you change your diet in such a way that you start to lose weight.
You burn fat.
And burning fat, right? And I don't mean crash dieting, because if you do crash dieting, they'll have the same problem. So when you said you were in the hospital, and I finally said, all right, let me guess what it is, and I said, kidney stones or gallbladder, and you're like, gallbladder. And the reason is because when people change the nature of their weight a lot, especially burning fat, to your point, those are two areas that you're going to have a problem, and the likelihood that you don't have a problem is a when, not an if, right? Yeah. It will be a problem for you, and only some people who do it slow and gradually get through it with it never occurring. But most of the people who lose weight rapidly for whatever reason, yes, this will get you.
Yeah.
So
you said Goldblatter, by the way. It's not Goldblatter.
Gallbladder.
If only it was gold, that would have been so nice.
Gold, stone, nuggets.
What if they took them from me? What if it actually is a gallbladder and they took it from me?
Yeah.
And they have my gold.
Gallbladder.
No.
Bladder. Anyhow.
so the recovery, so when you come out of the surgery, I haven't been in surgery before, so I haven't gone under.
Oh, I've been several times in my life.
So trippy. And I came back like an hour and a quarter later, and I saw like the clock, and then the clock changed, like between being awake and then being awake again, like 15 minutes. What was happening, they put like a cuff on you to measure your blood pressure. So every 15 minutes it can and then I woke up. So ow, this hurts.
You've never been in the hospital or anything like that ever?
Well, I was when I was like 6 because I had meningitis, but you know.
Okay. No, I've had some
I
hospital
haven't had
visits.
surgery before, so
As a kid, I used to bike a lot. So the whole point of that for me is I've been in the hospital because I've broken things, and so and yeah, so I don't know. I haven't been in a while, but I don't know. None of that bothers me. I don't know why. I think maybe as a kid I had enough of cases where I'm used to it.
well, I hate hospitals, so
Yeah.
going to the hospital is like the last thing I
Last
would
thing you
do.
want to, yeah,
But
yeah, I
after
understand.
like several hours, like I was up at 2 with stomach ache, and then
Yeah,
ouch.
and I will say anesthesia, like done correctly, is just the weirdest thing because
Yeah, it was
you
like here
they come
comes
see you,
here comes the
they
stuff.
and
Okay.
there's a real science to it because they're like, oh yeah, just stop on by the office like 3 days from before your surgery. I'm like, okay, they give you a shot or something and said, okay, we'll see you in a few days, and then you're in it on and they're sort of prepping you a little bit, and all of a sudden, boom, you're out.
Yeah.
They roll you right up, gone, and then you're
Well,
you're waking up,
for
in
me there was
recovery.
no appointment. They was just said, okay, we're gonna put you on the list for today because you are in a lot of pain, so we're gonna
Right.
help you today.
Yeah.
So I got 2 marble-sized gallstones out of it
Yeah, that's not
in a
good.
jar.
Do you
They're
still
like,
have it? Do you really have it?
yeah, I have them. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't have them with me, so I can't make them. Well, make noise with them, but I can make
rattle.
like srirachas or what are they called? The little
Maracas.
maracas.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you ever give me maracas, I am not
No, no,
accepting
no,
them.
no, 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 no. My plan is to get acrylic, like castable acrylic or something like that,
Like
and just cast them inside of a block of acrylic.
yeah, okay. That's still pretty gross.
Well, then there's nothing gross about it anymore because it's just closed off, right?
I know, but to stare at them, it's still kind of gross. So
Well, they took away my gallbladder. All I have left is the gallstones. And he made them for me. I saw this comic this week about like the gallbladder. I think it was a weird Yeti or something like that. Some sort of a comic
yeah, I don't
site.
know.
Yeah,
I couldn't
awkward
understand
Yeti. Yeah.
the wedge that was responding to the gallbladder.
That was the liver.
Oh, the liver. Okay.
Yeah. So I got stabbed by the doctors, and then I'm still recovering from that. I took like a day, and then I started working again, and people called me crazy. I was like, yeah, okay, I just can't sit still. I feel like crap, but I have to do other stuff. I have to keep moving.
Hmm.
And they said that in the hospital, you have to keep walking, walk around, don't sit down too much, don't lie down too much.
Yeah,
Just
to exercise your body.
keep moving.
Yeah,
Um,
because you have sutures and surgery, and that's a flexible area part of your body, and you don't want anything to be able to sort of not not like I wanted to use it in this phrasing not because of your new stones that you own, but like calcify. Like when something calcifies, it gets sort of set in its way, and then when you try to move around or something, you crack, snaps, right?
mm,
So you don't want to be set in it. You got to be up. You got to move. You got to go walk. You got to go do things so that your body is healing in a way where it knows that you are going to be moving. And when it starts compensating during the healing process and through the sutures and it starts kind of working flexibility into your lifestyle as it heals,
yeah.
then you'll seal up real nice and tight. Where if you are a person who sits on the couch and starts eating more potato chips, and good chance you're going to make it set, it's going to heal exactly in the most common position and the most common path it finds itself all the time. And then the day that you move around or do something a little bit more extreme, boom, you're gonna be hurting again. You're
Yeah.
gonna break your whatever. You're gonna hurt your body. Your body's gonna be healed in such a way that is not positive. So
But the things that happened afterwards, like the months before I had apparently this was another attack. Remember, we had to postpone an episode because I was sick the entire
Yeah.
night. I had like a stomach ache all night, and that was apparently another one of those. And I've had like something like that before because I thought I just ate something wrong because
Nope.
I have a habit of getting like getting food poisoning or something. But apparently that had been happening before. I didn't realize it was that.
Related.
Yeah, it was all related.
Yeah.
And apparently, I usually have like red cheeks, rosacea. That's what they call it. Anyway, that's been clearing up. I have no idea why, but it's probably related. And
So,
it's
well,
so weird. And there's
Yeah.
so many things that have been happening that have been related to this thing, and it's like, wow.
So one of the things that I definitely I understood, but I was definitely reinforced by when it became diabetic, because it's a metabolic problem. And so what happens is, while you were having probably all these other things going on, you probably had a whole other set of things that have always been with you and have always been a problem because something in your system was out of balance and the rest of the components of your body was compensating, which means other things were being affected that weren't serious, let's say, by having blush in your face all the time. So I noticed that I never really loved pizza. Pizza was kind of tasty for me, but like while everyone around me was like it was crack for kids, I was never, and I didn't grow up living on pizza. So when I got it, it was until I had like the anime club and people come into the house.
Yeah, I was about to say like the wall
Yeah.
of pizza boxes was kind of a thing, huh?
Except for buying so many pizzas on a regular basis for that group, I had never eaten that much pizza. And even then, I would have a piece and it would totally mess me up. And I go, oh, that's not right. So I would probably not eat pizza that often because it was just full of a lot of carbs. Then when I found out I was diabetic, and then they started to adjust, gave me some real basic medicine I take that adjusts, rebalances cholesterol, stuff that your body naturally produces. And I started taking omega-3s and stuff like that and rebalanced my metabolic system, even though it's still a little out of whack. I noticed that anytime I have pizza, yes, one piece will still totally F me up from a carb system perspective because my body can't handle breaking down the carbs quickly enough and can't, deal with it because I'm not producing insulin. But it is the tastiest stuff ever. And it wasn't until my diet and everything, and I was given the right stuff to rebalance and equalize my whole metabolic system with regards to that, I didn't understand what the tasty crack was that everyone else was getting. And this was the very reason. So pizza, very tasty to me now. But in the same respect, I can't eat it because it screws me up I can have one piece at best. And if I have a second piece, unless I'm in great shape for the day, it will totally mess me up for the rest of it.
Are you still on the egg whites only thing? Because that was horrible.
Well, I was doing what my doctor told me from a nutritional perspective, and so I agree with you. I got tired of them, but I did it for a couple of years, and then I noticed by following his diet and his guide, I got thin. I got thin in ways that probably weren't positive. Not that I look sickly, I look like thinner than I was when I was in high school, thin. And then I started to do what most doctors do. They give you the advice that you need for the moment, but they're not following you every day. They're not, you know what I mean? They don't wake up and give you a diagnosis before you roll out the door. They have no clue. And you see them, every 6 months, right? Maybe once a year, right? You follow up with your doctor.
This was my first visit to a doctor in
right. So
10
they
years.
so even like like Dr. Mike, for example, like you'll never know. They look at you and they evaluate exactly at the moment, but they're not evaluating you every single day. So you have to be your own doctor, and you have to do it without Googling the bias on the internet, right? You have to kind of self-diagnose all the time, and that is a thing that I was sort of doing, but now I do a lot because of my system being out of balance. So the whole point, getting to that, is that I have a sense of myself, and I check my blood every day, so I know what my do's and don'ts and allows are for the day, and I check it every single day, every single morning, and that's how I know. And so I was following what the doctor was telling me, but the thing about it is I told him I started bypassing his advice, because I only saw him a few times a year, and I knew that he didn't know what was going on, and he wasn't there to give me my morning evaluation every single day. And I said, I started putting fat back into my diet. I'm intentionally eating unhealthy things like some butter, and I've been putting some cheese back into my diet, and this and that. Is like I recognized that I was being anemic and that I needed some fat in my diet. So I put it back in. And he's like, okay, good. Like, that was it. His response to it was like, he had saw me in the anemic days, and he's like, oh, all right, your numbers look great. Yeah, but I felt like crap. And so what my body needed was not his advice. Yeah. And so I was, at least at this point, not delusional, like very grounded. I had experimented. I ate a lot of protein from nuts. I ate a lot of protein from meat. And I figured out what the balance was, but it took me a couple of years to figure out exactly what that combo is. So today, I mean, I could just live off of like one almond based kind bar for dinner, and even though I'll be starving myself to that, that is what my body just needed. That's it. It didn't need anything more than that.
So when I in the months before this, I've been trying to figure out what was wrong. Because I thought, I ate something wrong or something, and and I did eat like Chinese food with like peanut sauce. So I don't know if you have that in the U.S., but so I thought either it was the Chinese food that was bad, or something else was going on, or I just ate something wrong, or it was the peanuts. So at some point I thought I had like a peanut allergy. I'm very happy I do not have a peanut allergy.
Yeah, that's good.
I was like, oh, okay. That's good to know.
I think what you're going to find now that your body is
it was
starting...
the fat in the peanut sauce that was triggering it, because it was like, yay, let's try to flush it. Oh, wait, there's 2 stones in me.
Yeah.
Squeeze.
Yeah, so here's what is going to happen now that your body's rebalancing, and per your attentiveness to these things. You're going to eat some foods and stuff and go, wow, you might eat that peanut, whatever that food with the peanut sauce in it, and go, oh, this is tasty. This is tastier than it was before.
Oh, no. My taste has always been good. So I can taste, what do you call it? Super taster. So any compound, I can usually fish out what kind of things are in it. Mm-hmm. So that's, I don't think that taste is a thing. The problem wasn't the taste, the problem was my body reacting, trying to squeeze something that wasn't able to be squeezed.
Yeah, processing.
And then putting me in a lot of pain.
Yep. So
this is also the most amount of pain I've ever had. This was like, it was right up there at the 10, because it was so horrible. It's like, and that for like 6.5 hours. I was like, yeah, I need to go.
No, I remember when I was a teenager, I had a problem with something, and so the treatment involved stuff where it felt like every single vein was on fire. And I had nights of that through the treatment. And so people are like, I'm like, what's wrong? I go, oh, something hurts. And he goes, oh, you're bleeding. I go, yeah, I know. I said, I'm going to work through the thing. I'll figure it out. I'll fix it. And they go, what do you mean? It's not like they cut off my, they cut off my finger. I'm sure that's excruciating. Right. Yeah. But there's a certain point where your body like turns the signaling off. Right.
Yeah. I wish that would have happened during the thing, but that didn't happen until they pumped me full of painkillers.
So, I mean, aspirin emulates a chemical version of that, right? So that's how that stuff typically works. But so, I'd been very early on in my life, I've been conditioned to excruciating pain. I don't know how it compares to being pregnant or, giving, birthing a child or anything like that. I can't compare. But it isn't like, oh, it's a little my pain. No, I mean, it's excruciating, right? And there's only a couple things where if you have that trouble, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you don't really feel pain for eye stuff, but if you do, oh, it's excruciating and you can't, there's nothing you can do about it. It's like raw, access to your brain. Same thing with dental things. You ever get an infection? Oh my God, it's the worst thing. And you cannot put enough Aleve and Advil combo in your body to make it go away without you still feeling it. So, and that is, those pains are just annoying. They're not, they're things your body senses that are annoying, but not really painful, like your veins being on fire. So I think, I hope you don't ever have to go through some version of that again.
That's horrible. So if you ever have pain in the top of your stomach, like the stomach area where actually your stomach is, like it for me it felt like a football shape, like the American football, like a shape like that in the top of my stomach, and for me it mostly felt like my stomach, something was wrong with my stomach, the actual organ, not the top of your belly, but not until she started pushing on my liver, and then I kind of said, "Ow."
Yep.
So just make sure that if you can't lie on your side or something like that, and you're having lots of stomach problems. So the last time that happened, I vomited and was fine. It stopped hurting. It was all okay. So it went away. But this time it didn't go away after that. And if you have something like that, don't think you're being don't think you're being silly for calling a doctor, because being in pain is no joke. Especially if it's something like that could have gone a lot worse. If that would have burst or something would have gone, they would have had to open me up, and that would have been a lot worse.
And so there are a couple key things. First thing, you should see a doctor. And if you're afraid of doctors, well, you don't want to have to be forced in a situation to have seen them well after it's too late. So there's that.
It's not like I don't like doctors.
It's important to see a doctor at least maybe once a year just for checkup. Now, to that point, to the advice, the way doctors operate today, and in the U.S. it's very they evaluate as you are, and they might get some labs created so that they can. But by the time you get those labs created, that's days after or that's days before. And that's not when you roll up. And I've had plenty of cases where, like, I called about a cold, and they said, I can see in a week. And then you suffer through it for a week. And then you go see them, and you get your labs or whatever it is. And then they go and they see you, and then you're mostly healed. And they go, well, you're looking fine.
You don't go for, like, a cold. You don't go to the doctor, right?
You go for, I have in the past gone for colds that will not go away.
Oh, yeah, okay. But, like...
Right. I have my constitution is far more ironclad than most people comparatively at work, because of the fact that, like, most people around me are deaf and ill and sick, and I get this something like little imbalance where I feel a little like screwed up or drained for a few days, and then I'm okay. And like during those few days, it's really inconvenient, it's really annoying, and you really just want to take those days off, but you're not like exhibiting the plague like all your coworkers are, right? Yeah. So my body handles, I guess my immunity is in pretty good shape, but it handles things a little differently than most people around me comparatively. I also take enough vitamin C in general, every single day. So maybe it's because I'm not getting sick because I have enough of the right stuff in my body that is in balance and preventing me from getting super sick. But the long and the short of it is that go see a doctor when you think you need to, not when I feel a little pain in my foot and I can't explain it. Like, don't become one of those people, right? Don't cry wolf every single time you think there is, oh my God, I'm gonna die, right? But if you have like a big pain, like per John is talking about, you don't let it pass. You go see a doctor, and actually get a primary doctor to see him at least once a year, just to see that you're okay, just so that you get some general evaluation along the line. And again, keep in mind that they're only evaluating you when you show up, and they'll get some tests and whatever it is. And there are doctors who like to look for problems, and then the reality is
finance their boat.
Yeah, right. There are definitely some of those. I have found an office that runs like a sloth, but the doctors are perfectly fine. It's just their whole atmosphere of the office is terrible. Like, if I need something from them, you have to call them up, and you have to call them up like 9 times if you can go through the phone system to go talk to a person. Like, it's probably behooves me to pull up, go to their office, and stand in front of them until they pay attention to me. That might be faster, actually, surprisingly. But that is something to do with the office administration and less to do with my doctors. So
anyway, if you have that pain, go see a doctor. Also, at the bottom of your belly, if you have that too, also go see a doctor.
Yeah, don't ignore a bunch. Don't ignore a bunch of stuff. There are some things your body will not heal, right?
Yeah.
It will not heal. Your vision does not heal fast, and it's basically permanent damage. So you got to keep that in mind. Same thing goes for your hearing. Don't be jamming Q-tips in your ears all day, because that creates permanent damage. And if you have a hearing problem, if you have ringing, whatever, go see a doctor. Go see the right kind of doctor, the right kind of specialist for that stuff. That stuff does not heal. Once it's damaged, and it does not come back quick or fast. We're talking years. Years might be the recovery cycle if you can maintain a situation where it doesn't get more damaged. So there are parts about your body that do not heal. You remove a finger, it's not growing back, right? Okay, so there's things like that. Not yet. So, but the same thing goes for kidneys and livers. And
actually, if you take a part of your liver, you can actually grow it back. That does work.
It does, but not as big as whatever. So, if you think, I can liquor it up through my 20, no, you can't. You're destroying your body in such a permanent way that, and getting on a transplant list, being on a transplant list is not, don't think of your life as so convenient that you could destroy it, right? I get it. You could rev your engine on your car so much to the point where you break it, you can get a brand new car if you can afford it. But you cannot do that with your body. These parts are built for you and you only, with your DNA. I can't even talk today. With your DNA, right? They're made for you. And if you go and destroy them because you think you're being a daredevil for YouTube views, you're being stupid. And you're going to be stupid for the rest of your life that you live. And so, you know what? Be careful, be cautious. Don't be a scaredy cat. Take some risks in life. But to the point, if you got real pains, they won't pass. They won't go away. And if you think you got a problem, go see the appropriate doctor, right? Go see the dentist. Go see, someone who knows something about your eyes, right?
Well, that's a lesson I learned this time because I'm not one to go to a doctor or I want to, complain or go sit sick at home.
Right.
Also because I never actually get sick. I get like a cold every once in a while, but that's about it. That's about the most extreme thing I've had in the last few years. So I think that that will change because I'm like keeping track of things more now. Also because we have like a thing at work where we have like for every half year we're not sick, we get an extra vacation day. and I still haven't used like a sick day in years. So I still get my have your sick day
I
free day off.
I use my I don't really call it a sick day, but I call it as a personal day,
Hmm.
as to go see my eye doctors, right? Because I'm diabetic, and part of, aside from the aspects where it started to really bleed out as a problem. I don't mean literally bleeding out, but like, to a point where it overflowed into such a way where it was problematic for me was my vision. It was messing my vision up,
Yeah.
and so that's how we found out about me. So I see the right doctors, and it turns out, I don't know why, and this isn't like local bias confirmation, right? Of pride of your local area. Apparently, Philadelphia has, and outside of Philadelphia, just like in the outside the metro area of Philadelphia, um, very uniquely has all of the top like eye doctors and specialists are right here in Philadelphia. And there's an institute that people from all over the world, when they have real serious problems, come to Philadelphia, specifically to this institute and this hospital for these specialists. And I have two doctors, a primary and my specialist related to the things that relate to diabetes. And apparently they're way up there in terms of like top people. So I'm in good hands, very uniquely because of where I live.
Yeah.
And I just happenstance into a situation where when I showed up, I had enough of a problem where whoever was the head of that wing made had some of her minions, residents or interns, make some calls based on her weight of influence to these two guys. Actually, the one guy, and the one guy called up the primary and hooked me up there. So, I lucked out. And so I'm in good hands for my case. But I use those days. I see the one doctor at least 3 to 4 times a year, and I see the other one twice a year.
Hmm.
So, otherwise, if I never had that problem, I would have never known who these people are. I would have never known that institute, and I would have never gone there. And that's the key point of it, is
Hmm.
that I did the same kind of thing. Only when I had some kind of extreme cold, that after the third week, maybe second or third week, I couldn't shake. I basically called them up and said, "Oh yeah, we're so busy. The flu's going around. We'll see you in like 2 weeks, right?" And then by the time I rolled up, where probably having an antibiotic would have been useful like 3 weeks ago, they're giving it to me well after the fact when I really don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
So you got to make health important,
It's very important.
even if you think you're in your 20s and you're indestructible. And the reality is you're not, and you just got to be careful. And because it's not thinking about the now, it's thinking about what your future is. So that's it.
People kept saying to me like, "Yeah, you'll be out for a couple of weeks. Like you'll be recovering for a couple of weeks." And it's been a week, and I'm sitting here, and it hasn't been a week since I had surgery. But like I've been walking around doing all sorts of things. I've been working all week, like a total 40-hour week, more than a 40-hour week. Even done some nighttime maintenance on servers. So I'm like, yeah. And for some reason, I healed pretty quickly, so that's also probably a good thing. But people have been calling me crazy. But yeah, I just can't sit still. I just can't do that. I can't, I heal better when I actually get something to do. So it's probably that. And I could have just gone and tried to do art, but I didn't feel like doing art. I felt like doing coding and getting that done. There's so many projects that I have to work on and I have to finish
Even though
soon.
even all these side projects are tiring.
Oh, these are not side projects. These are like actual projects for work that we have to go finish soon.
Even with me, for even though it sort of suffocates my week and I can barely decompress, and maybe the only days I might be able to get for that is maybe a whole Saturday if I'm lucky, and or maybe a pocket of some part of Sunday morning, right? And my default is I just want to sleep. I want to sleep because I'm not getting it during the week, right? So So the reality is I'm not really recovering as often as I should. But I have the same problem when I'm up. I gotta do something. And as long as I'm not funneling all my want for that into, Minecraft or Moonbase or some video game, um,
Staxel.
or Staxel, which I haven't touched in a while. I'm sure it's probably a lot different now. The reality is, I get a lot of stuff done because I'm funneling that energy into more, I don't know, productive, but in other places, right? I mean, sometimes I find myself, like I did last week. I watched like 7 hours, 8 hours of TV that I was behind by 3 weeks worth of content.
Mm.
So, um,
What is that free time you're talking about?
yeah, right. So, and that was burnt basically mostly by my day because I had podcasting stuff to do. We didn't do a podcast thing, but then work ate up 2 hours of my morning. And so I was real tired. I really needed to sleep in, you know, but I couldn't because I had to be up at 6 a.m. for work, right? And
I kind of want to say two more things. One, I'd like to thank the people at the hospital. They were so great. They were like, they knew within a few minutes what was going on. The
Yep.
doctor knew it, and they was like, yeah, that's probably gallstones. What? And they were really professional, and they were really good. That was very good. And also my colleagues, the two of them came by. My boss and another colleague, they came by and brought me Minecraft Legos.
Yeah, I
So I'd have something to do. I'm like, yeah, you'll see me tomorrow at work.
Yeah, I think as an adult I
What?
haven't had anything like that, so I don't know who those people would come out of their way, right, to see me or whatever.
Yeah,
I think when I was a kid, no one really came, right? My parents came. That was about the extent of it.
I was not aware of this situation. That's kind of a thing you need to do. I
Yeah,
was like, what?
gotta tell people.
Well, I think it is because they were shocked because I never have anything. Like, and they
Mhm.
were kind of they were like, what happened here? John's never sick, so what's going on here? So
Oh,
maybe they were a
got ya.
little bit shocked from that.
Yeah, but there's
It was,
also
I was
I
very
think-
nice of them. Very nice of them to do that, but you shouldn't have.
Yeah, it
but,
was very
you know.
cool. I think also, as like you and I have some bad addiction to workaholism somehow, one way or
I think
another.
there is a problem
Whether
there, yeah.
whether it's a actual professional problem or actually personal problem, um, I think we like there was something like last week, whatever was going around. Something was knocking me on my butt for the first 3 or 4 days, diabetically and also like allergies or something. And my and I said something to my boss. I said, "Yeah, I'm feeling pretty bad," but I didn't, probably from the outside, I probably didn't look any different. Like I looked about the same, and in his probably in his suspicion, because he has teenagers, he probably thinks, "Oh, he's lying to me." No. I'm being honest. I just don't exhibit like I have the plague. I just feel like crap inside. Like
Yeah.
I really just need to go home, but there's too much going on here. I just need to suffer through these days to get these projects done, right? And so I just said, there's too much going on. I can work through it. And he's like, okay, well, let me know if you need to go home, right? And but going home means that Alan needs to sleep for like 4 days solid. That's how my body heals. Then I'm like stronger than ever. If I get a good 7, maybe 9 hours, I recover, right? But I have to actually get that sleep without interruption. So, but anyhow, the point was that I think sometimes we don't look like we're sick. We probably are, and we're just kind of working through it because we're focused on other things. So,
Yeah. So we have some other topics to talk about.
we do? I don't even know that anymore. I think this is plenty.
Okay.
But
So do you want to skip that thing?
well, the only thing I've been working on this side project. So I say working on it. So keep in mind that working on it means like probably as far back as 2014, 15. I decided to rebuild some app from scratch, and kind of reinvent it a little bit. And I did it in a technology in the Microsoft world. And it was perfectly fine. It was just being lazy, and there were things to figure out, and I was just being lazy. And I use that sort of handicapped version, even at work. It serves a purpose for the things I do in code, and even like when I code at home, right? So I built it on my own time. I rebuilt it on my own time, completely different technology stack. And then there's been a gap of time for a few years since between then and now. And I was like, even back then I said, I really think what I want to do with this thing is this, which is way larger. It's like the next level times 5 or 10. And I never got around to doing that out of my laziness, playing Minecraft or Staxel or whatever equivalent in between, or just like never getting sleep and having to battle with myself to recover, whatever.
Recording podcasts.
Right. All that stuff. Right. I'm still busy. I'm doing things, but I just never made time for it. Because my impulse was, I want to Minecraft instead. Right. So I kind of lit a fire in my butt and started doing it in the newer Microsoft stack with UWP. And in the Microsoft ecosystem, there are other things where I can convert this to Android, or I can convert this to Mac OS and iOS and whatever. Though I don't think this app has any value in iOS or Android. But I could make a Linux version of it pretty easily as a result of it. So what I want to take with this app, and I don't really want to discuss the exact details, but I started building it in UWP, which is Microsoft's universal program platform for UI, which is taking the graphics stack that is dynamic and does opacity and does transparency and has built-in animation rendering engine just like we do with web things. All this stuff is built in. It's been this way since 2004, right? And they brought that in as WPF, and then they kind of iterated this forward for a little bit more dynamically for today's game. And not exclusively just meant for desktops, but meant for desktops, mobile devices, tablets, everything, right? That are screen orientation sensitive, as well as screen resolution sensitive and stuff like that. So the whole dynamic build of way you program this stuff, which I learned from WPF, is different, and even different between those two graphic stacks. So building that stuff is its own kind of learning lesson, because while there are some default controls and there are some community toolkit controls that you can get, the reality is they really give you the most primitive responsive controls, and from inside that you can build your own. And so what I decided to take some time off during my weekends and start just kind of hacking at it. And I finally got around to building a layout. But the problem is I use a bunch of default controls, and then they cobble together their own default controls, and they all have their own kind of weird behaviors to them. And it's all very this sort of asynchronous pattern where you can't always await on some things, because you change one thing and then it fills this content area with stuff. And I wanted a little bit more complexity than I realized. And so while I was kind of coding against this little nightmare of these pattern changes, I change one thing, an event fires off, it changes this other UI component. Then I can't really, even though I well named the component, it's nested under a content area that I can't just access directly from code. So I have to dynamically build an event delegate to go through this. It's like this juggling act. And so while I was getting through it, it was just biting me in the butt. And I finally realized what I need to do is I just need to rescope it as all static objects that I'm just clearing out and managing the event handling myself. And so that is what I'm going to do. But the point was that I went from one technology stack between that gap of time and now, today, and the programming pattern is significantly different. And so while a lot of people are like, well, we do this all the time in web programming, and I agree, and I thought in between that gap of time, I thought, well, maybe I just make it a website. And then I thought, no, that's not really what I want for this. I don't want to webify something that probably could use it later, but that's not the starting point. This is meant for programmers and people that need to do this kind of activity. This is meant for power users. This isn't meant for to be code pen, right? This isn't meant for everybody. And maybe later I build it that way. But I think what I have to do is I have to iron out all of this technology stack change. And it's just reinforcing how much of it has changed in a couple of years. So that was it. It was just that I was having my pain points with UWP, and I'm realizing I can simplify a tremendous amount of that by scratching most of the layout and redoing it in such a fashion where I'm using the primitives instead of using nested convenient control under nested convenient control. It's easier for me to reproduce how these controls are actually working. Because there's certain aspects of it. And I could get in very specific things, but I didn't want to. That's why I've been sort of dancing around the specifics. So that's it. That's kind of what I've been doing on and off. And I think while I have plenty of opportunity to start doing that today, maybe there will be a moment where... Because I'm like, oh, I don't want to restart over. That's where I'm at. Like, I took a moment during my week and I paused and I said, okay, what is it that I need to do? And I go, oh, I just need that. Oh, then I wouldn't have that problem and that problem and that problem. And I wouldn't have to go around this thing and that thing and this thing. And so, I'm in a much more comfortable space to be motivated to start redoing it. But I learned something by the failure of that, right? I could keep working through it badly, or I could just redo it correctly. And so I'm going to take that as a learning lesson and as a failure. While though it's still working fine, it's working code, it's working exactly the way I want. But I think by using preset canned controls from somebody, it makes more sense for me to use the basic primitive objects and lay it out the way I want it in the level of control that I need. And I can handle the data binding to a data binding myself. It's easier for me to code for that than it is to use a control that already has it. So anyhow, that was it. That was my little tidbit. I wasn't even going to add to that. We didn't know how long your poke and prodding conversation was going to go.
This is going to take a long time.
Yeah, and I added another 10 minutes to that. But I mean, did that make any sense?
Sure. And I'm probably gonna make a small avatar icon thingy for your project.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try
and it's not going to be big, but it's going to be really useful to some people. And even in the older handicap versions that I've built, I have at least one person at work who's like, "Oh, dude, I love this thing. I use it all day." And it helps serve a purpose. Well, I'm sure there are probably some not well named apps out there that do something like this. That's not what I'm going for. I'm not going for the views. You know what I mean? I'm going to rebuild it for me, and then I'm going to share the app for free to everyone else. So.
Well, speaking of apps,
yep.
.app is going live this week. So on Tuesday at 6 p.m. CEST, so that's noon Eastern time in the US. Yep. So it's gonna be fun.
I pre-registered for this app that I was not speaking about, and we'll see if I actually get my pre-reservation gets in and immediately get it.
Yeah. So let's talk about pre-reservations, right? So
let's talk about apps that like new domains that aren't. So for example, .app isn't just open for everybody, right?
It is open for everybody.
Well, it's open for everybody once they go live. But there's a period between when they actually go live.
Oh, okay.
And this isn't just so for example, I did some renewals on DNS stuff, and it says, hey, .app is going to be it's going to be sunsetting real soon.
Well, general availability. That's what they call it.
General availability. And so I said, okay, I'm going to get this app that I'm working on, which I do have strong intentions of releasing to the world .app. So I did that. And that does not mean that I actually have it yet.
Yeah. Yep. You were convinced that it was?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I'm smart enough on the subject of this. I understood the difference. So
okay, so there's like several phases. So you have so when it goes live, so you have a TLD. So you have the idea for a TLD. So you pay ICANN a lot of money, and then you go find out what needs to be in the contracts and stuff. And then eventually, when you get to a point where you can actually put the DNS live, so you put like the root servers for your TLD live. That moment your TLD is actually live. So usually what goes live first are like nick dot your domain name, your extension. So nick.app. And then at some point you get like early access. Like people get you can like pioneers. You can get like a few domains. You can give out a few of them, like 1,000 or something, to like a couple of tryout people.
Right,
like,
and those are
famous people or something to get
some
attention
invites.
To it.
Right, they're invites. Yeah. They're not.
No, and then you can pre-register some premium domains. So you can say like, for example, cookie.app is a preserved thing. You want to get extra money for that,
or apple.app.
No, app.app is probably not allowed, but all the 2-letter ones.
Because that has a pre-existing established trademark, right?
Yeah, all the 2-letter ones, like the domain names for countries. Right. That's the thing. And then there's like premium like company names. So there's a phase where you have like a TMCH. I think that's Trademark Clearinghouse. They have like a moment where you can only trademarks can actually get the domains.
Right. So like
you get to a phase where it's early access, which is where .app is right now as the moment of recording. When you do, you can like you can buy it right now as like a normal person, but you're going to pay more for it, right? But for .app right now, you can also pre-register it with some registrars, right? So what they're going to do is when GA arrives, general availability arrives on Tuesday, they will try to push through as many domains as they can. But that means that they're going to be sent out in order of whatever order they
first come first server,
yeah, or something else, or the ability of getting it, because every request you do blocks something else, right? So if you can't, you can only have so many connections to the registry. So if you get stuck behind some other stuff, right, you don't want to be there. They're not going to push through your domains first, right? Only if you like pay extra for it. If you want to get it at like the normal price, right? But there's also premium domains as well. So if there's like
you
special
cookie
product names or words,
biscuit.app, right?
Something like cookie,
milk.app,
Bitcoin,
Bitcoin.app,
Ethereum.app,
Ethereum, Litecoin.app.
Yeah, they're probably going to be very expensive, so that's also a problem there. But it's going live on Tuesday. I haven't actually got one in the queue, but I might do something maybe.
I mean, I did one I pre-regged for my thing, and it's the name is. It's not obvious, and it's not a thing that I think most people would would be in the premium lot or in a domain squatter's lot, right? It's not pencil.app. It's not pen.app, right? It's none of that stuff. So it's nothing so naturally marketable that it should fall in. It probably will fall right through the cracks, and I will get my domain and I'll be fine. And that is also part of like the choice of why I just chose that. And I chose it a while ago. It's not like I was, being hip about something. Nothing. It's just I chose it a while ago. I said that's what I'm gonna do, and it's the reason is not really that informed, right? It doesn't have much of a story. It just is what I chose. So so I should probably be fine, and I'll know Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I didn't pay $1,600 for the thing, so there's that. I paid a reasonably nice normal price. Right?
Yeah, so some companies will do like a pre-registration site. They pay, like, you pay for like the right to be in the queue. Like we will try our best to do our best to get this domain as soon as possible. Right. So, but there's lots of people that do this and then try to get like brand names and stuff, and that's
right. So your Facebook, your
not
Apple,
smart. You're not going to get that domain. They
would
either
assume,
have a trademark or you're going to get premiumed up.
I guess whoever gets what's.app first.
I think that what's.app is probably already taken.
Yeah, what's with an s.app or whatsapp.app. Yeah. So you can expect the Instagram.app. I don't know about Bitcoin.app, but possibly someone's gonna snag that up right away.
Well, they're all premium, so
right. But your Xerox.app, your IBM.app, your Apple.app. I don't know if Apple care, but they are an established trademark, so they can use. They can send a fleet of lawyers at whoever to bully it away from you for nothing or no cost, or sue you for it. So they normally don't make the effort, but when they're ready to make the effort, it doesn't really hurt anything more than anything else because they're well established. So I mean, don't be a jerk and try to take Facebook.app, Messenger.chat.app, like you start doing that, you're gonna put yourself in a fierce.
Well, a word like Messenger, they're probably not gonna get much leeway there. They're not gonna get that domain from you because it's a generic word. They can't trademark that thing.
Yeah, but even then, they could afford to pay for it. But I mean, those are probably like the most common things you expect, like pages.app, right? Web.app, right? They're going to be taken. They're going to be squatted immediately at whatever cost. And no one's going to let go of that for no less than a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
If
some good ideas for .app domains now. Oh man.
A bit.ly.app.
I'm going to spend money.
We say even if you work for a company that makes it easier for you to permanently register to these things, you're in a better phase than my domain provider. But to that point, definitely, certainly after the recording of this, we should talk about some of the things.
So I've got two other things. I recently had a problem with my 3D printer, and during my stay in the hospital, some packages arrived. The parts that that were broken in my printer, and I fixed them, and it works great now. I'm really happy.
Yeah, I finally got the list of Kickstarters that have never arrived yet is actually closing. I think I'm down to just 2. One, I know it's on its way, and then the last one, I was expecting that to actually come a year plus ago, but they ran into financing problems because they ran into issues in China. So who knows if it'll ever show up? But I'm surprised that it's taken this long. But one of those was Hudway. So Hudway was this cradle for smartphones, and then plus they had built a GPS app a long time ago. Not the greatest app, right? If you're gonna do a GPS, like Waze or Google Maps are way better solutions. And I didn't love their app, but one of their app had a feature where it would kind of reverse itself and go into like a heads-up display mode, and with that cradle, you got this little heads-up display as you're driving with this GPS app.
Yeah, you've talked about this before.
Yeah, and so they came out with the next version of that, which was a micro projector built into a cradle, and then you can have your phone wherever. And if you connect up your phone with it, it will work with Waze, right, or Google Maps, or like 3 or 4 other GPS apps, right? And so it finally arrived. The only problem is that you can only power it in the car, and I just haven't set anything up yet on it. So I haven't played with it yet. But it has a micro projector and, this sort of acrylic reflective screen in it. And it's all self-contained. So it finally came. It's neat. It's real nice. I haven't
But you
played
don't
with
have
it
a
yet.
car, right?
Yeah, because I'm not driving right now. So, and so I thought about like, oh, I could power with USB 3. No, and I need like 5 volts on USB 3.1. So I don't have a power adapter or supercharger adapter, I believe, that is outputting anything like that. So I couldn't play with it.
We'll talk
yet.
about it off the air. I'll probably have some way for you to fix it.
Yeah. Well, I used to. I have somewhere a 12 volt DC power supply that I bought, when Radio Shack still exists, like decades ago, and then bought a cigarette lighter, like
Yeah.
adapter cradle, and I wired up, and it's somewhere in the back room over there, which I have to go dig it out, and I could probably just light it up that way, but I have to go find the thing.
Mm.
Or it would be easier for me just to buy on Amazon the thing I want to play with it. But anyhow, so it's pretty neat and the device itself will also connect up to your car's what is it called, ODBM2 or whatever interface, and it will just just tack into that, and will connect up and has its own interface and menus just for whatever's native to your car as well. So it's pretty neat. But I haven't played with it yet. I want to play with it.
Just before I went into pain, I just a few days before that I bought an iPad. So I bought the iPad 2018,
the Pro,
not the Pro yet.
Oh,
no. I bought the 2018 model because I'm getting in Holland we get vacation money in May, so you get basically an extra month of pay, which is great.
That is very nice.
If
I had that, I could solve lots of little problems.
It usually gets used for other things though.
Right.
So for me, I'm gonna buy an iPad Pro. I'm gonna sell this one. But I bought the iPad 2018 because I know I could flip it because it's a new model, and if I didn't like it, I wouldn't continue with it. I would just sell it. I've been really liking the iPad for art. I couldn't actually use it over the last week because I had a couple of stitches right where I would put the iPad while drawing.
Oh, got it.
So, yeah, that was not fun. But
it's funny. It's funny how you don't realize that's a thing you do, and that's now a problem.
But even watching Netflix on the iPad was like, yeah, okay, ow, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I was trying to watch the new TV series on Netflix called Happy. There's this guy, this drunk ex-cop guy that sees a imaginary friend or something from some kid, and he's trying to rescue the kid. But it's really trippy when you just came out of surgery and you're watching that. It's like, what the hell? Anyway, but trying to draw on the iPad while with stitches is not good. Without the pain, it's a lot better. And I've been doing a lot of artwork today, and I'm definitely getting an iPad Pro. That's definitely going to be a thing.
Yeah, I guess this is, and we had this conversation before, I guess this is sort of like a very affordable Cintiq.
Yeah, and I think that Wacom should be afraid because I've always had Wacom stuff. And I'm buying the iPad Pro, the 12-inch big ass version with the lots of gigs of storage, and then I'm gonna get that one, and it's gonna be so great. And I'm gonna be drawing on it a lot because I can just go anywhere. And the problem with these Wacom tablets, the standalone ones, they have very poor battery life, or they have Windows updates that mess things up, or other things are going on, right? For iOS, because it's you're doing this thing and you're not doing something else. You can be playing music in the background, but the main task is the main task. That's what you're working on. Because it's so compartmentalized, compared to Windows, where it's like there's 1,000 things going on in the background, and there's a virus scanner running, and all sorts of other crap. That messes you up because then suddenly the line you're trying to draw is not straight, but it has like lots of notches in it when it tried to catch up drawing.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
And there's even a bug right now that Windows Update caused, where like if you draw it, there's like a wobble in the lines just because of the drivers.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I mean, I think if you have a dedicated system for stuff like this, like even if it's like a Surface tablet, for example, which doesn't have the same kind of pen technology, digitizer technology in it, I think you could definitely not load it with all the things and mitigate it and set some routines for stuff like that. But I think that goes with anything. So yes, you're right. By having a device platform that has built into its own design for good and bad, it has limitations to it. It is a far more competitive outlay than something like Wacom's approach for mobile,
but
tablets.
Even the applications like Clip Studio Paint is now available for iPad.
Oh, right? That's good.
So you can actually get the same application you have with Windows. It's actually exactly the same application.
Yeah,
looks exactly the same.
The thing about it is I was always surprised. Like, I get it when it's something meant for your desktop. Like, I've seen that where I used to watch, it was a reality TV show called Orange County Choppers. And one of their graphic design guy had like one of those beautiful 20 plus inch, 30 inch like monitor tablet screens, right? But that's like a physical, like in a place. You don't take that on the train, right? Yeah. I get that. And I totally get that design and that metaphor and that thinking on Wacom's side. Totally get that. And that's probably just correct. But it's an extension. It's not a self-contained unit. And they're self-contained units. When I've seen them in the past, people have been impressed by them or some degree. But like, I don't know. I've been really unimpressed. Like, I think they would have learned from, like, maybe if they wanted to keep in the same technology stack, why wouldn't you just build like an ultimate tablet, right, with your digitizer built in?
Well,
if you're controlling all the hardware.
Did, right? That's what Wacom did. They have like the Pro, like they have like a standalone tablet, Android tablet, Windows tablet.
Okay.
Right? So they have that. The problem is that their batteries are like really, really bad.
And that's the thing, is like it just didn't seem like they did a good job. I think they should have half-assed it. That's
and they were heavy.
like to me.
They're heavy as
old. Yeah, okay, yeah. Got you.
So, and that's what I like about this. And I understand that the iPad Pro 12.9 inch is going to be a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And it's a lot heavier. But I can put it in my backpack and I can take it with me.
Yeah. I would say in defense of Apple for this example, I don't think they were ever gunning for Wacom's business. I think this was always...
When they made this pen, the Apple Pencil, they're gonna murder Wacom with this, because this thing is really good. I like this. The form factor is good. The way it works is good. It doesn't, like in the past I've had like the Wacom stylus for the iPad. Mm-hmm. I've had that one. I've had all sorts of things. Bluetooth pairing it is a disaster. It's horrible. With this thing, you just plug it in the bottom. It says, "Do you want to pair this?" Yes, it works.
Yeah, I mean, and this isn't a comparative, but like the S Pen on the Samsung devices was on the Notes were always easy. Or it just worked. You pull it out of the boom, it magnetically snapped back inside its cradle, and it just was perfect. But I also am not really an artist when it comes to drawing, and so this wasn't a thing for me. It was there for the, it was a thing that came with it. And so clearly they figured out how to improve this stuff, and clearly this has not been the case for the people who had owned this market. Mm. Now, that pen is not the first iteration of Apple trying to do this kind of
Probably
thing.
Not.
No, it is totally not. So they've had many other iterations before. And they all cost something, right? They're all $100 or something for that thing. But I don't think Apple ever intended to take away the market for Wacom. I don't think they were being competitive. I think they were always This was always a value add thing that they tried to sell to consumers. That, oh, well, if you're an artist and you don't really need your art book, right? This was
Well, I think that for the
why
Pro,
having a tablet is amazing, right? And this is just them following through with the same idea they had like 10 years ago.
I think with the Pro, the iPad Pro with their faster processor stuff in there, I think that they are gunning more for the people that actually want to do stuff on their iPad.
Yeah.
I think that the form factor is a good idea. I think that
Mm-hmm.
the way that they solve this with the pen, it's a good idea. The only thing I'm missing on this is, only thing I don't like about this is the way you plug it in to charge it. So you plug it at the butt of the iPad, you just plug it in. There's like a little nib. I don't know if you can see this, but
Oh, and the lightning, and
it's a lightning
you get
cable.
a lightning cable or something adapter?
No, you just plug it up into the iPad, and there's an adapter for the normal charging cable. So when it kind of looks really janky, and but it's like if you plug it in for like 15 minutes and have a charge for like 20 hours or something like that. So it's fine.
Are there any like power banks? Because I've certainly have had.
Oh, you can charge it from a power bank too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I've certainly have bought a new fancy power bank, and worked fine for Android, but it had a lightning cable on it, and a lightning cable spot on it.
What they could have done is like had like a stand where you just put it in and it would charge.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you could just put, like, for example, for my Wacom tablet, I have a 21UX. It's like an very old model right now, but
why didn't they just do a wireless charging feature?
Yeah, exactly. Or just have like like 3 dots on the side, and you click it to the side of your iPad, just attach it, and it automatically charges.
Yeah.
That'd be so nice.
Yeah. Well,
maybe the next model, huh?
Yeah, next model, $150.
Well, this thing is $100. It's $100 for this thing.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of happy I bought it.
Yeah. But, I mean, so to the point, I was just saying that I don't think Apple was ever gunning. I think it was just very convenient for them to add, let's do this and do that, and then we can totally go gun for all of Wacom's portable market. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth something. They're never going to, until they come up with an iMac that, like, folds over, like...
Oh, yeah. There was a time when they had...
the Microsoft Studio or something has 18 cores in it and has the same kind of touch digitizer technology in it. They're never going to be gunning for Wacom exclusively until that day they actually build something like that.
Well, I still use like my normal Wacom Cintiq, but I don't think I'm going to buy a new big Cintiq anytime soon. I was going to buy that in May, but then I found out that the 2018 model of the iPad had the support for the Apple Pencil. I was like, okay, I'll get that one. I'll see if it works. If it doesn't, I'll flip it. I'll just put on like eBay or something.
Yeah, that's the thing I never do is I have still all good hardware that I might have upgraded or something. I just keep it. I have a stack of old hardware that I got to get rid of.
Flipping it might also mean I might use it as a Netflix machine.
Right, yeah. I even though it's only less than 6 inches, my first Pixel is just fine. I'll watch stuff on it all the time. Normally, if I'm protesting on Saturday morning and not wanting to get up, what do? I was like, let's see what's on YouTube. Let's see what's on Netflix. Let's see what's on HBO. And I get into that whole thing where I'm sitting there watching stuff on a 6-inch screen, less than 6-inch screen, and that's fine. I don't need a big tablet, a $500 tablet just to be a big monitor.
Speaking of videos.
We should move along on all the things because we got lots of stuff. Hey, look, this has been a catch up for me and John, really. Let's be honest. We've been talking, but we haven't done a show in to our world at least 3 weeks. So
okay, so I go first. At your Ellen Poe pipe, Polymatic link/HN. Somebody's woodworking a pipe, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that seems to be like a new channel. I don't know if the person in this video has been doing anything else in the past, but seems like a new brand. There didn't seem like a lot of videos. But it was interesting. This is what, a two-parter, right?
I think there's more parts, but just a few videos on the site on the channel. So I thought,
Yeah.
this looks kind of nice. It's kind of cool that they're working on this.
Yep.
We'll give it a shout out.
Polymatic.link/HN.
Yes.
So Will Smith he just decided to start doing Instagram, and they've been pretty good when he does them. And then he's just doing YouTube stuff, and he's just being himself plus probably, I don't think it's an amplified version of his life. I just think it's his sort of general life is just fun because of a combination of all the things, plus he's a celeb, plus he's got some spare money, right?
Yeah.
And so he's just decided, probably in the pocket of doing other things and not relying exclusively on Hollywood to keep him relevant, he's probably got so much energy on things that he's just like, oh, I'm just going to film all the things that I do. And so that is what he's been doing. But of course, he's got a team of people that does it. He's not doing all the production on his own. He's got plenty of people around him because of his professional life to kind of support him. So Will Smith, and this was just a video that came out, I don't know, recently, and it was random, and I don't know what talk he was doing, but someone turned it into like a video post for his YouTube. So Will Smith, skydiving, and fear. And I totally been liking what he's been producing. A couple of them been a little odd, but Polymatic.link/HR. I enjoyed it. When he does his Instagram stuff, he's just spewing out like things he knows about what his success has been. And it's kind of like, the way you can look at it is, he's old enough. He's older than me. He's old enough that it's like cool dad doing a YouTube thing and Instagram. And that's cool. I'm okay with it. And, given that he was a local, I'm a little more invested, I think, than the average person probably is. So that was Polymatic.link/HR.
Okay, next one I found out during, watching YouTube videos about keyhole surgeries and stuff. Polymatic.link/HO, like the letter O. The Real Doctor reacts to House MD. Medical drama review by Dr. Mike.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, I like this guy's channel, so I watched a couple more of his videos. Definitely a pretty good recommend. There are definitely people who are going to be watching him just because he's not ugly. But I'm just saying, as I know there are going to be people who don't actually care about what he's producing other than that he's there on their screen. So that's sad. But he does. He has good content, and he puts some effort into it. So he is on the like my videos thing, but he's got like 1.1 million subscriptions, right? The one video, I think his house videos is over 100. No, it's like over 300,000 views or whatever. I think the guy's doing okay. He'll show up in somebody's trending, I'm sure, at some point. But that's
well, I know why YouTube was recommending this one, because I was watching all these medical things.
Well, I shared it on a Twitter group. One of the guys who lives in India is like, yeah, this came up on my recommended as well. And I said, oh, this came up for me because of a friend. But so Polymatic.link/HO. Okay, so this one is to John's description, trippy. I don't know if it's the greatest video ever, but from an effectiveness from special effects, knowing this group because I follow their YouTube channel, and they often do behind the scenes stuff a lot. Anime self-driving cars. Except for most of his green screen, except for the people, everything else has been fabricated. It's all fake, built in a computer, and very effective. Can you argue that this is the best mini movie ever? No. But well produced, given on a low budget and given computing power and people. Pretty impressive. So this group, Corridor Digital, does lots of cool stuff if you're in the video game and viral videos. They are one of the Cadillacs for this kind of thing. Polymatic.link/HS.
Enemy self-driving cars.
Yes, that's correct.
Next one is How Muse Doesn't. write a chord progression. Polymatic link/HQ. It's about how Muse makes their music.
Yeah, I thought it was insightful.
Yeah. I have no idea how music works, but hey, that's
I do. I don't know it at a professional level, but
yeah, I can't read notes, so I have no idea how that works.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, that's great. He'll explain some things about some things, and I have no idea what he's talking about.
Oh yeah, no, I was following because I can read music, though I haven't played in a very long time. But part of that is you got to read music. You can't just be sort of an uneducated. I mean, there are a ton of independent artists who just pick up a guitar and just bop around on it, and then call themselves an independent singer, songwriter, musician, and have absolutely zero idea or context. You put sheet music in front of them, they could not play it at all. They just kind of like, oh, I did a thing, and then a billion people liked it. I must be amazing. But if you talk to Pharrell or Drake, they totally understand how music works. They totally understand how composition works. They understand how the structure of a song works. They understand the infrastructure of how to build things and how to build loops and when to and when not to. And even though it's an evolution of a process, they are incredibly beyond book smart. They're prodigy level smart. This is why they're successful, not because they wear a cool hat and do a cool dance. It has nothing to do with that. That just happens to come along with it. And so there are a ton of people like that. If they can't be the marketable thing, they become a producer under the hood, and then they do a track for somebody super famous. And the reason that super famous song by a super famous person is successful is not necessary because of the product marketing of the particular individual performing it. It has a lot to do with the person who actually built the thing, and then they stick someone in front of a microphone and say, sing this, and then they do. And boom, it's amazing. And there's a lot more actual intelligence in there. So that was the point.
Okay, Polymatic link/HQ for that.
Yeah, sorry. Some rant in there. Okay, so this is... I don't think this is for you anymore. I thought it was cool. So Nintendo Labo...
I'm not getting one of those.
Instruments. This person took a long time. This is a Verge video. Polymatic.link/HT. Yeah, I don't know. It's neat. I think from a programming perspective, this would be a nightmare. But, if you're real dedicated to it, you could.
Yeah.
That was the point of it. So,
okay. So the next one, you know about the demo scene, right?
Demo scene in terms of what?
Like they build like events. People go to events, and then at the event they build a small little program. And they build like a demo with like music and video,
right?
Or not video, but like rendered on the spot, like real time ray tracing.
We saw a version of that when we were at Google I/O. They were just kind of DJing music. One of the guys was DJing music, and someone had like a bunch of Android coloring EQs and visualizations built from out of Python.
More like they tried to fit an entire demo thing inside of 64K of file. Like 64K, right. That's it. Yeah, so this one is NumRes by CNCD and Fairlight. Fairlight you might know from the ye oldie Wares CDs with like the music on it, and they had like intros and stuff for that too. So that's probably this. I think that was the same group. So Polymatic link/HP for that. It is a pretty nice video. And this is like this. I think this was like from their 64K competition thing, and they won.
Yeah, I like the music. It was good.
Yeah, it was pretty well done. And that's all in 64K. A file, 64K.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so I have...
Did I say what Polymatic link/HP?
Yep, you did. So there's a TV show on HBO. It's really for nerds. It is, sadly, more true than not, as humorous as it is. Made by Mike Judge and group. Silicon Valley, and I never pay enough attention to the openings. I've never really microscopically looking at the openings, but someone did for season 5 because that's the latest season. And Polymatic.link/HU, not for Hulu. And so someone sort of took that new opening and sort of diagnosed the changes between, I guess, the previous season, and made some notes or conversation pieces about kind of what's going on in Silicon Valley and social media world.
The Facebook one was good.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool. I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty neat. So I thought this is one of those random recommends. I haven't really been following the person, but if you've ever seen the show or you're curious about the moving and shaking of Silicon Valley and big social media companies like Twitter and all Apple and all the things, watch this video. You might like it, even if you don't care about the TV show. And then last, I just thought this was cool. I don't love this YouTuber. I gotta be honest. I'll just be straight up front. I don't love this guy. His content's not bad sometimes, but I just don't love his not his formula. I guess his format. I don't love him. I think is what I get about it. I don't know. There's something sort of scammy about his channel, even though the content's pretty good sometimes. But this one was glowing slime. They kind of show you how to make slime out of using Elmer's transparent glue, and they cracked open a bunch of glow sticks and they made glowing slime. Yeah. It's kind of cool. I got to be honest, it's pretty cool. Will I make it? No, but it's pretty cool to look at. So that was Polymatic.link/HB.
Okay, so I've got some music. I have Elisa Trau. For those are Polymatic.link/HK and HL.
Mm-hmm.
So there's Foo Fighters meets 70s Bobby Caldwell live looping. So she does a lot of live looping mashups.
Yeah.
I think she also has an album out, so that's pretty good. So Polymatic.link/HK and HL.
Yeah, I saw that first video and it reminded me of Kawaii, right? You know, that other artist that I like, where she kind of she does covers or she'll do her own songs in a live loop, and then put them up on YouTube on occasion. That's pretty good. You got one more, I think, right?
Yep. Savlonic Super Mix by Lil Deuce. The Savlonic has like this weird nerdy chiptune music. Mm-hmm. And they make videos for every single track. Yeah. And they made like a super mix for that. The super mix actually sounds a lot better than all the other tracks, I have to say. But Polymatic.link/HM. It's a thing that gets stuck in your head for some reason. Yeah, Yamaha for some reason.
I liked it. Little Deuce. I know because of Tom Ska. And Tom Ska have done some of his future stuff, including music, even in the Astiv movies that Tom Ska was known for doing, the sort of short attention span comedy short videos. When there's been music or music videos associated with it, Little Deuce was the guy. He was the guy who basically did the music for Tom Ska's projects.
This is not the guy that makes the music, I think, or.
You know. No, the Little Deuce, his channel that's the guy, but I don't know about the Savlonic stuff.
Savlonic,
yeah. It was good. I liked it. Yeah, I listened to it.
Polymatic.link/HM.
Yep. Okay, so I think May towards May is a good time where everyone wants to release stuff, and seems to be. Right? Yeah, I guess so. It seems to be a discovery moment. So an artist that I grabbed everything I could find as of late was a group called AJR. And 2 songs, Sober Up and Burn the House. And there's a lot more music that they have that's pretty good. Polymatic.link/HW for Sober Up. And Polymatic.link/HX for Burn the House Down. I don't know. I enjoy their music. It's certainly an acquired taste. I think it's more of kind of Rocky Theater style music. And I think when you listen to the music, it's not like just music for pattern. It's music that is actually saying something. I think that's what I'm saying is that there are lyrics in there that are saying something way more than your standard kind of 4/4 time formula, show or song. Like I always pick out Justin Bieber as the prime target for these problems. So anyhow, I really enjoyed their stuff, and Sober Up is a pretty good video too. So anyhow, moving along, I also found, just sort of I think a May thing, Nina Nesbitt by somebody I follow on Twitter. And Somebody Special is her latest track, Polymatic.link/HY. This is totally poppy stuff. And then just to find you another good track by her, The Best You Had, Polymatic.link/HZ. And then last I have is a new find for me this week, Maggie Linderman. I don't know exactly really a lot about her, but I definitely like this song and some of the other songs that she put out. Polymatic.link/I0. I totally think her target is for teenagers.
Okay.
But it showed up on YouTube, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay. So, Alan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at CHAESS.
Okay, you can find me at WebDevie, WEBDEVVIE. For feedback, you can reach us at podcast@Polymatic.media. The music in this episode is by Seyuns, which you can find at Polymatic.link/EK. Our Twitter is The Polymatic. The website is Polymatic.media, and I hope you tune in next time.